Alrighty, I think we're live. So welcome to another edition of Coding with Jess, where we're going to focus on building Spotify new releases, and I'm basically going to talk out loud the whole time as if you were pair programming with me. I'll also be checking the chat from time to time, so if you're in the YouTube live chat, I'll see your messages. I'll make sure to check them on Pomodoro breaks. I tend to work in 25-minute long chunks and then take a 5-minute break, and so I'll definitely check in at that point and see what's going on there. So, all right, I guess we're live, so there's nothing to do but get started now. This is only my second ever live streaming session, so I am a little bit nervous and also a little bit unfamiliar with the whole live streaming setup and all that jazz. So if this is a little rough, I apologize. And hopefully it will be fun and we'll get to work on some code together. So this is gonna be a blast. All right, so where are we with Spotify new releases? So last week on Spotify new releases, we worked on, what did we work on last week? Let's see, turn the tunes down a little bit. So bring up our Trello board. So last week, I think we worked on, oh, that's right. Okay, I remember now. Last week we worked on grouping albums by week of release on the application. So basically we're pulling all of these albums from Spotify, from all of your followed artists, and then we wanted to group them so that you could basically see, here's the albums that came out this week, here's the ones that came out the previous week, and that kind of stuff, and basically just see a timeline of all of your album releases. We got this working. There was some, I think you might remember last time I basically wrote some pretty hacky code in the views to get this working. And then this week on Tuesday, I actually had a a code review with a friend of mine where we went through and reviewed this code. So let's pull up this PR. I cannot tell why the sound starts muting itself. Thanks for the tip, guys. Okay, yeah. So I should be talking constantly. So if you ever hear me stop talking, definitely like. So I honestly don't know what is going on here. I tested this out this morning. It never muted me once, so I don't know what's going on. What I'm going to try and do. So what's happening here is OBS is muting me now. I do have a shortcut set up for muting, but I really don't know why it's doing that. I have to assume that it must be like switching between certain applications or something. I am at a loss, guys, as to why that's happening. So chalk this up to another adventures in live streaming and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. But I'm glad it's working now. I do at least know where to go check when it's not muted. It's just extremely distracting to have to like wonder, am I still live? Am I still live? Am I still live? Anyway, so we'll figure that out. I may try like wearing headphones next time. I'll figure something out and test this out more exhaustively than I did several hours this morning trying to debug this. But all right, so back to where we were. So what we're working on is going through this code review that we got from Ryan Holdy and then making a couple of changes. So yeah, I remember now where we were. We're in Trello. So my goal today is get this review card over to done, get this PR merged into master, talk a little bit about this spike. We had a guy comment on Twitter, and I had some back and forth with Ryan Holdaway in our pairing session too about how we might improve that. So I'm going to drop some comments on that here. And then finally, I want to focus most of our time today on getting into production. with this application. It is now to the point that it is actually useful. And furthermore, I'd love to have a staging environment set up so that I could run this through a proper QA process anytime I make changes and not just verify things on my own personal box. So, all right, that's what we're going to work on today. So without further ado, let's go start a Pomodoro. I'm also going to leave this over here. Whoa, huge. There it goes again. Audio cut out. Oh, I figured it out. I figured it out. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. All right. So I just need to change one thing real quick, and then I don't think it will ever happen again. All right. Let's delete this shortcut and delete this shortcut. Okay. I'm pretty sure I figured out why it was muting. And it's because of a particular shortcut that I used that I didn't realize was overlapping with the mute shortcut. Okay. All right, but I'm going to leave this up anyway, just so that if I can notice this little red thing when I'm switching back over to our Pomodoro. So let's go ahead and start our Pomodoro. So we're going to focus for 25 minutes. I think in 25 minutes we should be able to get this PR merged back. That's my goal. So let's do that. All right, so jumping back in here, you'll see a bunch of extraneous comments from the Hound CI bot. Hound is this, does some like syntax checking for you, where it'll go through and like review your code and give you some ideas of ways that you could improve the code. So like this is one of them, for example. Tells me the line length is too long here, that it should only be 80 lines long. I had set up Hound to try it out, and Hound has not stopped hounding me since. So I actually disabled it a couple of days ago when I saw how aggressively it was commenting on all my PRs. It would require some time to go set up Hound in a way that it was actually useful for me in particular. I don't really need all of the sort of aggressive comments on my code styling, especially for like a side project like this where I'm not working with a team that are all expecting the code to be styled a certain way. So anyway, please ignore all of the Hound CI bots. So Holdy made a couple of comments that we've already fixed. So he commented this released after thing was really confusing, so we renamed that. He commented that, oh yes. So in our test file, we actually had an expired token that I had been using to set up the tests, and he pointed out that there's a way to handle this using BCR. Which is the gem that we're using to cache all of our HTTP requests that happen during our unit test suite. I know that's like a really packed sentence there. So if you don't understand what BCR is, definitely go check it out. It's a pretty cool plugin. There might be something similar in the Node world if you're working in that world, but check out BCR, very cool. And there's some configuration options that you can set up with BCR that will keep the access tokens from creeping into your code and into your cassette files. And then finally, he critiqued my my little hack that, like I mentioned, that I did at the end of the week last week for getting the week labels working. I think I'm going to tell him no. Better once we get it into production, we're starting to use it. Additionally, so basically, to get the things separated by weeks, I wrote some pretty hacky code in the view. Way too much logic going on in the view, and I knew that when we wrote it. We had already spent like an hour trying to get this, getting the albums to be split up by week using a more elegant Ruby-like solution. I had failed to do it that way, and so it was like, this is not the most important thing for this product. So let's just get it working, and then we can get feedback, and then we can make it better. Additionally, we're going to spend some time redesigning the front end very soon. I'm hoping to tap one of my friends who's a designer to pair with me on it, and then I'll live stream that designer developer pairing session, which I think will be really fun. So this code will soon get refactored or go away entirely. All right, so I don't want to spend a bunch of time refactoring some code that is probably going to go away. So I'm going to resolve that conversation. Okay, so the last thing, I think we have all of the the, let me review my own code here. I think we have all of the the tokens taken out of our cassettes. So I think we can go ahead and merge this back in. There is one change I wanted to show y'all that I'm not going to implement right now. This is the change that allows VCR to not store secrets in your cassette at all, to like obfuscate them. So what we're going to do instead is I'm just going to try and remember as we run the new test suite to manually remove those before we check them in, or to replace them. I'm going to do that for now because this configuration turned out, there's like this particular piece of configuration to get the access token obfuscated was pretty tricky, and I was not having luck with it. So again, it's going to require a little manual work when we check in our cassettes and like require us to remember to remove those tokens, but I think it's a reasonable thing to work around. We can come back to this. There is one thing though. Let's see. So I want to make sure my test suite runs right now. It does. So that means the cassettes that it has in there are, and it didn't add any new cassettes files. So that means the cassettes it has have the correct keys in there based on what it's expecting. And so the last thing I want to do is go to my Spotify service file, make sure I don't have, or service spec, my spec file, and make sure I don't have any. Good. I've got some secret code and some access token. Whoa. Don't be jumping around on me now. Some secret code and some access token here. So you can see I don't have actual secret codes and access tokens, even though they were invalid. Okay, and then finally, I want to see if I can run, let's open Rails helper. I think this one successfully worked. You know what? I'm just going to leave these all commented out for now. And I'm going to add, actually I'm not going to comment them out. I'm going to remove them, which should take away any changes. Great, I have a clean tree now. And I'm going to go add a card for this in Trello of backlog probably. Improve VCR setup to automatically remove secret keys and access tokens from cassettes. I think it's not really remove, obfuscate in cassettes. Cool. All right, so we can come back to that at a later time. Really, really solid thoughts. Holdy. This will trigger my memory. Huh. Oh, he's not on this board, so it's difficult to tag him. Let's do it this way. On how to handle secrets in cassettes. All right. So I think we should be able to, let's run this thing locally, make sure it works. So we're going to basically do local QA. This is why I really want to get a staging server set up, because right now what we're doing is we've just finished the code review on this, and before merging it in, what I'd like to do is push this branch to a staging server and then actually verify that it's working on the staging server and then merge the branch in. Don't have a staging server, I only have my local machine. So that's one of the reasons why we're working on what we're working on today. So let's verify that this works on our local box. I've got to go through the auth flow. It works. And then click view my releases, and I should get a bunch of releases by week. Let's see what happens here. Make sure we still have audios. Yep. All right, great. We've got releases sorted by week. The week label, or the week numbers are kind of dumb compared to actual week dates, so we may want to swap that out at some point, but we at least have them by week. Great. And audio is still working. Fantastic. Okay, so with that all in place, we should be able to go ahead and start a review. I didn't start a review. Oh, was my response to... Author, owner? No, I responded directly. This must be from a previous thing. All right. Oh, this is pending. Okay. Comment, submit review. There we go. Ah, you need to leave a comment indicating the requested changes. What in the world? Whatever. Sorry, I have chickens wandering around in my yard, and sometimes they try to wander into my office. True story. All right, so let's see. Let's ready to merge. Verified, working on localhost. Ready to merge. All right. Merge this pull request. Confirm. Delete the branch. No reason to keep branches around. Git does all that for you. You can actually restore deleted branches. All right, so now we should be back to a clean state. We have no pull request open. We've got master back open. So I'm going to go over here to terminal, check out master locally, do a git remote prune origin, and oh goodness. All right, cool. So there we just have our master's branch. I have a thing for deleting this. I can't remember what it is. Delete. Oh, it says it's not fully merged. Git checkout releases by week. Oh, I haven't done a pull. Ha! Durr. Gotcha. Alright, so now we're good. Okay, we're on the master branch. Oh yeah, I should be able to delete that branch now. Let's make sure that's true. Yep, okay, great. Clean state. No branches except for master. GBA stands for get branch -a, by the way, for those of you who are curious. And now we can move on and move this to done. Boom. And one of my favorite things about Trello now is like the Trello GitHub integration is fantastic. You can see that that branch is merged. Okay, so I promised also we got about 14 minutes left in this Pomodoro. Sweet, we've got lots of time. Yes, I really want to get on to getting this thing up in production by the end of the day. That way y'all can actually like go to the production application and try it out, which is I think way cooler than just watching it on my box. In fact, I think I'm even gonna come back to this placeholder to flesh out some thoughts. Issue requests in parallel. Twitter follower noted. A Twitter follower noted that my calculations for the number of requests were actually incorrect and far higher than, about 5 times higher than they needed to be. So these page loads aren't going to be as slow. Aren't going to be as slow as predicted. We can speed up the page load by issuing API requests in parallel. So we'll talk more about that later. I'm excited to implement this, but I want to get this working in production and get some actual feedback from some people who are using it. And then we'll go from there. All right, set up production in Heroku. So one thing that's going to be a little bit challenging about this is like I'm going to have to probably get production keys from like the Spotify API and stuff like that. So what I may do is I think I can like blank the screen out or something while I'm doing that to hopefully not broadcast production keys on the interwebs. And I may have to like do some of that with the .env file. So this is going to be a real test of my live streaming capabilities here. Like, can I remember to blank things out and all that kind of stuff. Kind of annoying, but unnecessary thing when you're dealing with like going live in production. Okay, so let's go to Heroku and get started on this. So what I'd like to, I don't think I've written up like acceptance criteria here. So let's just do that right now. Finish line, set up in Heroku. And we're going to want to set up a web server, a Rails server for the front end. We're going to need to set up a Postgres server, which I think free limits to 10,000 lines, 10,000 rows, which should be fine for now. All right. And then we'll set up with production Spotify instance. Set up with production Spotify API keys, and then we'll probably want to generate, set up a separate development Spotify API key. That way I can continue to develop locally and have a separation between my production requests. Basically see the stats separated out between the two. This is probably also going to require some like .env work and foreman work on the Ruby on Rails side to get this all set up. It has been a while since I've done this in... Actually, I guess I did this for DevMail. No, DevMail it was already set up for so let me go to the guide. Yay for reading docs. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. Started on Heroku with Rails. I'm going to fly through these guides pretty quick. I've set up, as you can see, I've done a few apps on Heroku over the years, but it's been a little while since I've done it recently, so I'm going to go through, and I'm sure some things have changed. I've actually been using Heroku since it was this thing called Heroku Garden. True story. There's a, let's see, Heroku Garden, an amazing development platform for Rails. I wonder if it even, yeah. It's still, so Heroku actually started out building a full in the browser IDE. And then in order to build that IDE, they also had, in the browser, they also had to handle deployment in the browser. Turns out the deployment is a far more profitable thing to work on. And so Heroku pivoted, dropped the garden, and just became a deployment platform, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I've been using this for a while. So let's see, Heroku login. I think I have the Heroku gem here. Let's see, I do have, whoa, that didn't look good. Press any key to open the browser. It did not like that. So iTerm may have prevented that from opening. So I may need to go figure that out in a second. Let's see, create a new Rails app, already have one. Add the PG gem, already done. We have the PG gem. Create a welcome page, whatever. Heroku gems, what? Previous versions of Rails require you to add a gem to your project. Rails 12 factor. We don't need to do static asset serving. Specify your Ruby version. I think that's done as well. Let me go see. Should have a file over here. Boo-doo-doo-doo, which is called .ruby version. There it is. Ruby version 261. Great, got it. Actually, that may not be the exact file. Oh, in your gem file, yeah. It should be also in the gem file there. Let's see. Yep, Ruby 261. Hopefully 261 is supported on Heroku, or we may have to switch Ruby versions real quick. I bet it is. I bet it is. It's newer than 2.6, so it probably is supported, but they don't always support all the point releases. So store your app in Get, that's already done. Deploy your application to Heroku. Okay, so we're pretty close. I've already got the PG gem. All right. So I just got to get the Heroku CLI working in iTerm, which Heroku login iTerm. Browser not opening. Heroku login not opening browser. There we go. I wonder. You know what I could do is quickly try this in terminal, and that would save us some pain if this just works automatically in terminal. Heroku login. Just work. Come on. Ugh. Heroku update available from 7.24. Whatever. All right, we'll do that in a second. Yay, hey, it just works. Haha. All right, and that's gonna like callback. You can close the page and return to CLI. Should be logged in now. Yep. Perfect. Okay, great. Logged in. That was a nice little workaround. Not having to figure out what was going on in iTerm. Yes, Heroku update. That's a good idea as well. Sup, Andrew? Welcome to the live stream. All right, that'll update my CLI for me. While that's running, let's go over to Heroku, and I think we can do all this from the command line now. In other words, just doing a Heroku create should do everything we need to do. All right, let's see, get in it, get status. Got about 5 minutes left in this Pomodoro. Yeah, let's just try Heroku create as soon as this finishes, and it's done. So here we go. Wow, that was fast. All right. Welcome to your new app. Git config. Yeah, I don't think I have anything. Oh, I do. Oh, it automatically does that for me. Right, right. I'm going to go through and rename that app now to be something sensible. Instead of afternoon stream. Hilarious. If this were called morning stream, this would be very appropriate since we are live streaming right now. It's almost like Heroku, their like auto name generator knows what we're doing. Let's see how to rename this. I think it's under settings. Yep, there it is. So this is going to be Spotify new releases. Just Spotify new releases. I'll save the staging for. We'll do staging again in a second here. Spotify new release is already taken. Madness. Madness. Have I already created one? Wow. Someone else has created a Heroku app called Spotify new releases. Shocker. All right, that's fine. We'll call it Spotify new releases prod. There we go. Sweet. Andrew, I was just thinking about you and I should pair program in person sometime and live stream that since you only live a few minutes from my house. Could do some Rails and React. I want to refactor the front end of this app to be on React anyway, so that would be super fun. Okay, so here we go. Spotify new releases production. I don't want to reveal those config variables right now and fill all those out. That I'll probably have to do the whole hide the screen thing for that. So now I'm guessing my git config is broken. I probably could have done that from the command line, like Heroku rename or something like that. Andrew, come on. You scared? Andrew says that'd be fun, but I want to do a non-streamed run first. Yeah, I totally get it, man. It's it can be a little unnerving to just like throw all your stuff out there. I've had some pretty good bloopers if you go back and watch some of the videos of me building this application. But hey, man, that's real life, right? That's what it is when even when you've been coding and doing this stuff for 10 years, you still make mistakes and still get stuck on silly stuff. For some reason, my Git directory doesn't show up in VS Code, so rather than figuring that out, I'm just going to open my Git config file directly. I don't know if you know, but you can just freaking edit this thing directly. There's a whole Git command line to do this stuff, but I'm just going to come in and change the name here to Spotify new releases prod. So yeah, that actually works. And then I should be able to do a git. Oh wait, does this thing have an alias? Remote Heroku. I actually want to make this production instead of Heroku. So now I can do git push. What is it? Production master, I think. Holy smokes! Things are happening. Things are happening. It'd be funny if the upload of this like tanked the live stream because it was taking all my bandwidth. All right, multiple default build packs. Whoa, let's read that real quick. Multiple default build packs report the ability to handle this app. All right, so they basically, because Rails 6 is using Webpacker, which is doing some crazy stuff with Node, it notices that there's a package.json file, which is confusing Heroku, and it's like, is this Ruby or Node? Apparently, it decided on the next line that it is a Ruby app and is actually using the Ruby suite, and it does have Ruby 261, so we're good there as well. Installing the bundles here. It's going through and installing gems. I don't think I have a very aggressive gem file. It's pretty lean right now, especially the things that are not development and test. So this should be pretty straightforward. Whoa, some warnings. Oh yeah, there's some more. Okay, let's read through the warnings real quick and just see if there's anything we want to upgrade while we're doing this. You set your config active storage service to local in production. If you're uploading files to this app, they will not persist after the app is restarted. That's fine, we're not uploading files. We would make that change if we were ever going to use active storage to like sync up with like S3 on the back end. I've used active storage like once. I think was introduced in Rails 5, maybe even in Rails 6. We detected that some binary dependencies required to use all the preview features of active storage are not present on the system. That's fine too. We're not using active storage, as I just commented. There is a more recent version, so we could upgrade our Ruby version to 2.6.5. Generally a good idea. Oh, Pomodoro breaks up. So I'm just going to go note that real quick. Actually, I'm going to pause right here where we are, take a break, and come back. Super important to like walk away from your keyboard from time to time. So hopefully the audio is still working. Audio is still working. Good. I think I found the problem that was causing things to blink out. All right, so I'm going to take a break real quick, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes, and we will pick up there. Looks like we're probably already live in production, but we'll check it out. We will not have the right keys, though, so we'll have to go set up those config variables in just a second. And we'll do that when I return. So see y'all in like 4.5 minutes. right. Here we are back again. So let's go see if we're actually live in production now and see how that deploy went. So I was going through the list of warnings just a second ago. There is a more recent Ruby version, so I was going to make a Trello card for updating Ruby. Also, update Ruby from 2.6.1 to 2.6.5. That should be a pretty minor update. Probably can do that in less than a Pomodoro, but no big deal. No proc file detected using the default web server. I have not set up a proc file on this project yet, so I'll probably want to do that. What are they doing here? All right, it says it's up, so let's go see what's going on here. Application error. All right, we can do a Heroku logs -tail and see what's going on. Okay. Whoa, a bundler fail. Interesting. And it's actually using 2.6.0, it looks like. All right, that's strange. All right, let me hit the website again and see what it says. All right, refresh. App crashed. Well, that's not helpful. Huh, okay. Well, let's see what's going on here. John says, never worked with React. It'll be nice seeing you working on it. I was commenting in the chat during the Pomodoro break, and John was asking whether I'll be building the front end in React, and I would like to build the front end in React here, and so that will be. I want to do that after I work with a friend who's a designer to kind of get a good UI in place before I go down that path. But that will be somewhat of a learning experience. I've worked in and around React for a while, but this will be my first like app myself that for myself that I built using React, or that I've been like quote unquote the lead developer on. I basically worked I've been a CTO over teams that are working on React and React Native, but I haven't been like a day-to-day individual contributor leading a React Native project, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, so let me close these up and figure out what is going on. Why is production not working? I know a couple of reasons that it should be failing, which is, one of them is how would it know to connect to the database? So that would be one. Let's go see what our default route would be. Route by default goes to index, or auth index. Our auth controller has an index page. Auth index has this on it. This has, wow, some stuff in it. Response type code, redirect URI. Wow, that's kind of a heinous line. We should probably clean this up because it's really hard to read. Okay, so it's building this long string, and client ID is getting passed in. Okay, so it's checking the secrets file for Spotify client ID. So we're going to have to change over to using .env and using environment variables rather than using application secrets. That's kind of the way that environment variables is the way that Heroku expects to handle this. And then we will put in, so that's probably why things are crashing. It's a little disconcerting to me that there's no like no more information here from the logs. I would expect there to be something a little more here, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. But I know that this is a problem that we need to fix anyway. So let's go through and go ahead and get the production keys in place and move over to .env, and then we'll move from there. All right, so what we want to do, I mentioned that Heroku handles things this way, so it's got this config variables thing. Hopefully, yeah, I may need to roll these, I guess, if I just showed you all of them, although you can't see all of them, so maybe it doesn't matter. All right, so I think what I'm going to need to do is add some, up your log level in Heroku to see the details. That's a good point. Yeah, because it is production, so they may not have, like, extended... Good point, Andrew. Okay, so let's start by getting our production keys in place, and I'll have to like hide my screen for this once I get to the right place. But I do want to show you how it works, where you have to go to get this working. So if I go to developer.spotify.com, I can click my dashboard and click login. I'm already logged in. I click your new releases, and then I have my client ID. The client secret will be shown as soon as I click show client secret. So I could rename this and make this my production instance. Right now I've been using it for development, so I'm going to leave it as my development one, and instead I'm going to create a new app. I hope this won't immediately show. Okay, it doesn't. Great. Spotify, new releases, production. Show a timeline of new releases for your followed artists. All right, what are you building? A website, a mobile app, a desktop app, a website. All right. Websites are weird. This should say like web app, but whatever. That's fine. Next, are you developing a commercial integration? No, I am not charging for this. I understand it's not for commercial use. I understand all your things. Submit. Great. So there's my client ID. The client secret's hidden. No data is available yet. All right. So now I'm going to switch over to, I think this is now just showing my face and not showing the screen. I'm going to go ahead and grab the client secret and kind of talk you through what I'm doing, even though you can't see. I'm revealing the config variables in Heroku, and I'm creating a new config variable that we're going to call Spotify API. This one's going to be called Spotify API secret, or Spotify client secret. I'm pasting in that client secret, and then I'm going to add one for the Spotify client ID as well. Client ID. There you go. Copying that over as well. All right. Clicking add, and then clicking hide config variables, and then hopefully I'm now back and you can see me again. That was relatively painless. I guarantee I'm gonna freaking expose these somehow. It'll happen, and then I'll have to like go and edit the video and like take it offline. Actually, I'll probably just roll the keys, but frustrating. Okay, so that now I need to open a branch, and we're gonna move to get checkout -b, move to .env. All right, so our goal here is to now stop reading from the secrets file. Secrets YAML currently has the development secrets in it, so I don't want to open that file right now. This is what's going to be somewhat challenging. Okay, so and then our auth controller is referencing so we're going to basically change this so that it's at client ID equals gosh, I can't even remember what the syntax is. Ruby gem.env. I assume this is still the right way to do this. Let me go. Yep. There we go. Another alternative to using environment variables is the .env gem. Okay, cool. Thanks, beekeepers, for keeping this up to date, or whoever's still working on this beautiful gem here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and drop this in to development and test. Yeah, that makes sense. So rather than the way that he has it specified, we're going to actually put it into gem file into this group right here, gem.env rails, and then we'll need to do a bundle install, which is now just bundle these days. Oh, bundler. Let's see, note on load order. Okay, I don't think I need it initialized sooner, but we'll find out. The problem with this is the config files may need to access it. So for example, the Spotify, do I have a config file? Yes, I do. Ha ha ha. Yes, I don't have it specified. So I'll probably want to eventually specify it here as an application level thing, and then we'll... Yeah, this is definitely going to be... Oh, I know what I'm supposed to do here. So... Okay, anyway. Let me see if this walks you through it. Yeah, here we go. Add your application configuration to your .env file in the root of your project. All right, so we're going to make a new file here. New file, .env. Now this needs to be an ignored file, if it's not already, and it's not. All right, ignored. They'll be available in this bucket. Okay, cool. Oh man, one thing, okay, kind of putting my head around all this stuff when I haven't done it in a while is interesting. All right, so this .env file, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is copy the development keys over from secrets example YAML into this .env file, and I'll kind of show you what it's gonna look like without hopefully exposing my keys to the internets. So we're gonna have this Spotify client ID equals, right? We're basically using bash like syntax for defining variables here, right? Like environment variables. So just if I like say variable equals Jess, and then I can say, isn't it print env? Oh no, print env gives me all my variables. And I should have one in here called variable equals Jess. Oh, I have to do an export in the beginning of that. So you can do like that. There we go. So we're just defining simple bash variables that will sit in your local environment when the that will get inserted into the environment when the application runs. Could explain that more, but I think you probably understand it. You can go read about it. I'm happy to talk about it more if you have questions. All right, so then secrets example YAML, or sorry, I'm going to copy things over from secrets YAML. I'll copy the development secret and ID here, but I'm going to do that while I'm off camera so that I don't expose my keys. Here we go. So let me see. I think that you're just seeing me right now. And opening secrets example YAML, or not example, the real secrets YAML file, grabbing the client ID. And again, this is my development client ID. We're going to have a different production and staging client ID and secret pair as well. All right, so I just got those in place in env.yaml, or sorry, the .env file, and close the .env file. So now you should be seeing my screen again. Great. Okay, we're back. So let's see. So we now need to reference the .env version here. So one way to do it, that would be the wrong way, because I'd have to sprinkle this all throughout the code, would be to do it like this. env Rails application, or sorry, not Rails, Spotify client ID. The reason that would be the wrong way is we want to probably like hang this off of an application variable. And so what I need to, I'd rather have, so this doesn't work anymore because we're not going to use secrets anymore. I'd rather have it look something, I could have it, that would work, but I'd rather have it look something like this. Application.Spotify client ID. And there's a way to do that pretty simply that I need to go look up because it has changed several times in my time working with Rails. So, well, that's old, 2012. All right, so this is from 2017. It probably hasn't changed that much since then. Rails application configure. Single level configuration. That seems unnecessarily complicated. Let me see, what does it look like to access it. Rails.configuration. .default avatar. This doesn't look exactly like what I would have expected. I'm not sure how definitive this is. Arkansas. Rails configuration variables. If we can find a better source on this real quick. Hey, there we go. Ruby on Rails guides are usually fairly up to date. Make this bigger. Config. Maybe it's like custom. Custom configuration. Yes, here we go. You can configure your own code through the Rails configuration object. Under either the config.x namespace, nested configuration. Wow, that is surprisingly un-Rails-like and obtuse. If you're using nested, so usually, yeah, that's funny. That's a weird convention. I don't know why they're using that convention, where if you have a single key, you store it under config, and if you have a set of nested keys. So if I was going to do like config, if I wanted to do like Spotify.client ID, Spotify.client secret, then I would need to do config.x.spotify. Weird. Not loving that. You can load it, use it to load configuration files, and then available, blah, 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 blah. All right, but you can write them directly, so I'm just gonna do that. Don't know if I need, does this probably has to happen within a configuration block, I'd imagine. Like that. We'll try it. Let's see. So in our Spotify RB, this is when we can actually start using this initializer. We'll do config dot, what was it? Custom configuration. All right, I can just do this directly. Spotify client ID equals env Spotify client ID, and there's got to be some best practices around how to do this that are better than, like, I don't know whether I should do the config, right? The alternative here would be config.x.spotify.client ID, right? Nested, but that just looks ugly to me. Like, this looks much more elegant, so I'm gonna go with that. And so now we end up with, yeah, Rails.configuration. I still feel like I need a config block, but we're gonna start the app and find out. All right, so we've got our app running right here in the first tab. We're gonna restart it and see if it blows up. It does, because undefined local variable config. See, my instincts were right. Let's see. Config Rails.application. Let's see that Arkansas thing again. Yeah, there we go. Let's put that in there. All right, and now start it up. No, it didn't boot. It didn't crash ridiculously quickly, so all right, let's see if it's actually running. Localhost 3000. Spotify new releases. Let's see if I can get to them. All right. So we have successfully replaced at least one instance of the Spotify client ID, or the secrets. So now all I need to do is search for secrets here, and any other place we're using that. Looks like in the service we're also using it. So let's go ahead and open that up. And this will need to change to rails.configuration and rails.configuration.spotify client secret. And that is all the instances of secret. So now we should be able to check these changes in. There's quite a few changes here. Why is there a change to routes? Get diff routes. Accidental change to routes. Git checkout config routes. Let's not check in that change. Okay, now we've got our gem file. Let's go through and add these into multiple commits, like split this up into multiple commits so it makes more sense. Git add gem file and git ignore. So this is add.env rails to the project. And then, wait, oh, I wanted to add gem file lock as well. I wanted to do gem file star, so it grabbed gem file and gem file lock. I didn't do that. Fortunately, we haven't pushed this up, so I can do a git commit -- amend and add that last file that I forgot into the previous commit. And so now you can go to git log and you can see this last commit here has all 3 files in it, even though I forgot it the first time. See, git ignore, gem file lock. Kind of nice. Git commit -- amend. You can do that locally. It doesn't mess up the timeline, like the git commit timeline, as long as you haven't pushed that commit up to another remote. And there's probably a way to fix it in a remote too, but I do not mess around with that kind of voodoo. All right, we only have 2.5 minutes left in this. Let's see, get these other things checked in. Git diff, what do we have? This is replacing, okay, cool. So this is replace secrets YAML with .env with env variables. All right, this appears to work. So we have not pushed this up yet. So let's push that to GitHub, that branch to GitHub. And then let's also do a git push production move. So we're going to push this branch to production as well and see if we have any luck with that. That's weird. Push to non-master branch, skipping build. Oh, that's weird. I want to push another branch to production. I know there's a way to do this from the command line, but since we're running out of time here in our Palmo, I also know you can do it from here. So if you go to deploy, you can go to I'm pretty sure you can do it from here. There we go. I can click GitHub and grab interesting. Oh, it wasn't connected to GitHub. Interesting. So connect to GitHub, and I can do a manual deploy like this. Deploy branch. Okay, hopefully this works. We have those like I said, I already have defined those config variables in the Heroku instance. So I'm hoping this is nice for us. And then the application actually starts to work. If not, what I'm going to do is take Andrew's advice and actually up the log level in Heroku to be able to see why things are failing there. The other thing that might be causing it is lack of a proc file, might not be setting up the application correctly. All right, says it was correctly deployed. Let's go to Spotify new releases. Doggone. All right, check your logs for details. So when we get back from our Pomodoro break here, which we're going to have in a few seconds, we will up the log level in Heroku and see if we can figure out why it's failing now, since it's still failing. All right, see y'all in just a few minutes. All right. I am back. Pomodoro break is almost over here, and we're going to figure out why this is not working in production. So we have, all right, let's get started. So we have deployed our application to production in Heroku. For some reason, it's not working. I don't have enough detail from the logs. Right over here, we've got our logs in this terminal, and not seeing enough information to really know what was going on. So we know that it should not have worked. It should have been failing due to environment variables. And so we fixed that problem, and still not getting a success and not getting enough information here. So I wonder if there's other information in the Heroku dashboard or anything like that. Oh, because of the lack of proc file, there are no dynos running on this application. Well, that'll do it. Okay, so we fixed one thing that we knew was going to be an issue. It looks like they've already set up the hobby dev of Heroku Postgres for us, but we're going to need to set up a dyno, but we don't have a proc file, and so that's why I was confused, and so it didn't set up one. So let's go do that right now. So let me see if they have an example proc file for us in here. Yes, they do, of course. So this is the Heroku walkthrough for getting a Rails app in production. So we're going to grab this, change the command used to launch your web process by creating a file called procfile. You can use Heroku local to start it. That's cute. Okay, so they've really extended the functionality of the Heroku command line CLI tool. So I'm going to stop the server right now. I've been using Rails S to start the server. I don't think I need to install the Foreman gem to run the proc file. You used to need that gem. In fact, it might be auto included here. No, it's not. There's Puma, which I believe is the web server that's defined in this proc file. So let's go find that out. All right, so we're going to create another new file here. This is called proc file. We're going to paste their thing in. It is going to run Puma. Rack env dash development. That is not syntax I'm super familiar with. I think it's saying that the port is going to be 3000 and the rack environment, the environment variable is going to be 3000 or development. And so that makes this a perfect proc file to use locally. I don't think Rails S will... Rails S continues to work. There used to be a thing called form and start. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore because I don't have that gem installed. Foreman is not installed over here. I don't think I need it. Okay, so I can do Heroku local, which will actually run my proc file. But it's on port 5000. Did you guys see that? Well, it runs, but it's on 5000 in spite of saying in the proc file run on 3000. Whatever. I don't really care. I could go look into it, but I want this to work. And so let's go ahead and add this setting up simple proc file. And let's push this branch to... I think this is going to work. Pretty sure this is going to work. Please work. Deploy branch. So this should deploy to Heroku again. Hopefully Heroku will pick up the proc file and automatically add a dyno on our behalf that is running the web server. So let's see what the output says. There we go. Make this a little bigger. I'm curious if anything changed up here. No, it's just doing a standard bundle install. Nope, proc file. Oh, did I not do a git push? There you go. All right, we're gonna have to do another deploy, guys. Sorry, I didn't push this up to. I didn't push this up to GitHub. So we'll go back here. Looks like the deploy is already completed. Go to move to .env. View the build log. Again, I'll set up the ability to deploy from a branch from the command line. I just haven't done it yet, so we don't have to like switch to the web UI to do this. Detecting Rails configuration. Yep, we're gonna upgrade the Ruby version. Chill out, yo. Procfile declares type web. All right, this should now run. Oh, something went wrong. Okay. What this time? What this time? Your manifest contains... All right, so let's figure out what's going on there. Oh, I bet it's like not building my Webpacker is probably not set up correctly. You want to set Webpacker YAML value of compile to true for your environment unless you're using webpack-w. Oi, Webpacker. So this is the new Rails 6 asset pipeline. I wonder if this is Rails 5x. We actually want a Rails 6. There we go. Heroku on Rails 6. We were reading the wrong guide all along. That's okay though. Migrate your database. Visit your application. Huh. I would have expected something in here. There it is. Rails asset pipeline. For Rails 6 asset pipeline support, see the Ruby support page. Okay. Why? Come on. Injected plugins. Assets precompile is now... What does that do? Or does that actually run successfully? Rake assets precompile. Yep, it sure did work. Whoa. Whoops. Oh. Whatever. All right, cool. Made some accidental changes there. John says, will Heroku be the final production server, or will you be moving it somewhere else after the MVP is out? I heard it gets expensive pretty fast. John, most of the projects I've worked on have never gotten the side projects I've worked on. Heroku's been fine for. So I'll probably just keep it on Heroku for a little while. If I were going to move it to something, I would probably move it to AWS. And play around with like Elastic Beanstalk and some other things that they have in the AWS world for this. What's their Postgres-like thing in the AWS? Can't even remember the name of it right now. But yeah, use their hosted Postgres solution as well. Redshift maybe. Anyway, I have to go look it up. But yeah, for right now, I will certainly leave this on Heroku for quite a while, and we'll monitor the usage and like make sure that people are able to use it with that it has reasonable response times and stuff like that. I'll probably move it I'll also move it off of Hobby though, so that we don't have so we actually have a paid dyno. Yeah, so I'll actually configure the dyno and bump this from let's see. Cancel, change dyno type. That's what I was looking for. I'll bump this to at least a hobby. In fact, I don't know if I have a credit card connected, but I'll do that later once we get this up and running. That's a good question. Okay, so why is this not working? Something to do with the assets pipeline. Let me go through and read this carefully now. This is the message that we're getting on... This is the message we're getting on Heroku when we try to run it. So it's trying action view template error. Webpacker can't find application in. You know what? I'm gonna shortcut this, and we're just gonna put that message in, and then Heroku. And hopefully we have someone. Webpacker issues in Heroku, same issue as you. Installed Webpacker 3.5 and everything worked fine. Huh. So maybe update Webpacker? That's weird. Man, we dealt with so many terrible Webpacker upgrades when I was using React at my last company. Like, this gives me definitely shivers. I think I found the culprit, Sass. I don't have any pure CSS in my view files. Is this Heroku? I don't care if it's not Heroku. No, it's not. Let me put, I think it's like plus Heroku or whatever to require the search to have Heroku in it. Or actually, maybe I can move it to the front. Heroku. No such file. Public packs. Not Heroku either. Interesting. Doesn't like my thing. All right, well, we're going to try. Well, let's see if we can determine what version of Webpacker we're running. Maybe we do an update there. Maybe that's the answer. Gem file, Webpacker. We are running 4.0.0, so that doesn't help us. It does at all, I don't think. I have a manifest.json file. All right, maybe we don't have a manifest.json file. I think he meant a manifest.js file. Interesting. So maybe our manifest file, webpacker.yaml. Oof. All right. Looks like we're gonna be back to doing some Googling here. You want to set the Webpacker YAML value of compile to true for your environment. Well, there you go. Compile true. If I had just read the error message carefully. Let's see if that actually works for us. I'm going to delete that because it no longer makes sense. Let's continue reading this to see. You want to set. We did do that unless you're using the dev server. We're not. Webpack has not yet rerun to reflect updates. You have misconfigured the file, or your configuration is not creating a manifest. Your manifest contains nothing. Okay, so let's see if that change made all the difference in the world. So git add dot enable Webpacker compilation in production. Moving too fast. All right, git push, and then we're going to do a manual deploy using the UI here. Move to .env, deploy that branch, and hopefully this time we will get properly built asset file, and this thing will run. And then we can basically clone this environment for a staging instance as well. Oh, come on, come on, come on. We're so close here. I just want it to work. I want it to work. I want it to work. Actually, I want to go buy a domain too and get this up on a proper URL. Spotify new releases prod.heroku.app.com is pretty long. All right, successful deploy. Refresh. Fingers crossed. Come on. We're sorry. I'm sure you are. All right, let's clear the logs, run it again. Wow. Okay, at least got a different error. No? Same error. Same error. can't find application in this. The original Webpack full feature set. We'll use Larn. You want to install. Possible causes. We did set that to true. All right, let's do a quick Google here. Rails 6 Webpacker Heroku. All right. Looks like what? A Node SAS? Madness. Do we have anything in our package.json file? Let's go check that out. Webpack 4.17.1. Not sure. All right. So what is Stack Overflow telling us? Yarn add before actually using a package in your application? Surely we don't have any packages that need to be added via yarn add. Yeah. Found the answer to my own question. There's a Boolean operation to make the output more verbose. Set Webpack compile output to true. Okay. What is that? Webpacker YAML. So we did configure production. It is running in production mode. Compile is true. Compile output is false. So maybe we set that to, I don't know if that's going to help, honestly, because I think that will get eaten by, well, it might work. What if you try to run bin/webpack dev server so it tries to compile your assets? None in your case. It's a good idea, Ben. I'll give it a try, John. Webpack. But then I'd have to like check in. Webpacker. Let me ls my bin file here. Huh. It is there. Command. Oh, there we go. Got to prepend it with the like actually execute the thing. Command Webpack dev server doesn't like that either. Yarn is maybe short. Have I run Yarn in a while? Already up to date. So yeah, we're good there. So whatever is in Webpack dev server, it doesn't like that either. That's interesting. Yeah, I do need to generate that file somehow. Got this set to true. Okay, I'm gonna try another push because like it seems like that webpile compile true thing should have worked, but I'm not seeing. Obviously, it's not working. So let's go through we'll go through the build logs too and see if anything has changed in the build log. Heroku create, Heroku build pack set Heroku Roby. Ah, look at that. This is necessary getting Webpack working. So we do have to add a Node.js build pack, which was what we saw in the initial build here. Okay, cool. So what we were seeing here was it initially detected that this could be Ruby or Node.js, and we basically have to tell it that it's Ruby and Node.js so that Webpacker can run appropriately. So I'm going to go do that. Heroku build packs add -- index 1. I think that means add Node.js as the secondary build pack, but I'm just going to trust this code from the internets and hit return. Build pack added. Next release we'll use... Oh, you're scaring me. Oh. Silliness. All right, we'll have to do it this way. That might do it. So I guess, so yeah, that actually makes sense. So what it was trying to do was, we had Webpacker has to run under Node in order to generate the assets. We set Webpack compile to true in the YAML file, but Node was not trying to run any of the things. And so the assets were not getting generated. Therefore, the manifest file wasn't getting created, and that was what was throwing the error, hopefully. Let me go through and read these real quick. Creating a runtime environment. Here's our node env, production, installing binaries, resolving node versions, installing yarn, installing dependencies, linking dependencies, doing a build. Nothing here. That kind of concerns me. Pruning dev dependencies, caching build succeeded. I don't see anything here that leads me to believe. Oh, here we go. A Webpack CLI. One CLI for Webpack must be installed. Delivered as separate packages. We will use yarn to install the CLI. Do you want to install Webpack CLI? Yes. Asset pre-compilation completed. Oh. Refresh here. No! Still failing. Okay. Let's see if we have the same error. Refresh, clear the logs. Rats! Red Webpack has not yet run. Your manifest contains nothing. Should my manifest contain something? This just feels weird. Something about this. So, asset pre-compilation completed. All right, let's keep reading that issue that we saw on GitHub. An application with no Webpacker but both build packs added using commit this. Result pretty fast. Does their build look the same? Installing node modules. No, that's dependencies. Caching build. Installing binaries, restoring cache. Build succeeded. It's weird. They've changed the output a little bit. Instead of... Oh, this is a cached build. I got it. I got it. So this, what we were looking at was the first time. Do I need to run bin rails webpacker install? Man, I'm definitely at a low point here. It's just like, grab code off of internet. Webpacker YAML. No, I don't want to overwrite that. I don't think. Babel config. Nope. What did that change? Nothing. Clearly I had already run that. Sure. Ignore workspace root. Webpack dev server. Again, what you said, John, I'm going to try it out again, but it does not like that. Let me try bundle exec. Still nothing. So even within the bundled environment, Funnel install isn't doing anything different. Shoot! So we basically spent that entire Pomodoro fighting Heroku errors around Webpacker. I hate changes to the asset pipeline. They always frustrate me. John says, don't try it. Tried it in an existing project and didn't work. Okay, so I'm gonna take this Pomodoro break, walk away, walk around, come back, and we will hopefully crack this nut wide open in the next Pomodoro and get this thing running in production. We're very, very close. We just need the assets to compile, and everything else should be working. So I'll be back in just a minute, and we'll give this another go. All right, I'm back. I'll give this another go. So I was just doing a little bit of reading while I was taking my Pomodoro break to kind of think about how this might work. And ooh, didn't come across. It seems like what we're doing is should be working. So let's just kind of like revisit our assumptions. I'm going to close everything down, except for Heroku. There's our application, still not loading. Close the GitHub down. Let's go over to our application overview here, and see if we can get this working. This is probably my final Pomodoro today, so I'm really hoping to get this nailed, and then we actually have this available for you guys to go and play with. You should be able to connect and see. Assuming you have a Spotify account, you'll actually be able to use the application to see your new releases. So let's see, activity. What I was going to look for was the build packs that are specified. All right, so we have Node.js and Ruby. That is correct from what I was reading. It's not in maintenance mode. We've got our dynos set up correctly. We have a Postgres add-on for Hobby Dev. Let's go over here to our code file. The one thing that keeps bothering me is that whole manifest thing. The fact that this manifest file is empty and it's what's expected to be configured. Assets config. All right, well, let's see if we can take another look at this. What else would we want to look for? We know that we've deployed recently. Let me do it again. Another manual deploy just to make sure that we're doing the right branch. Node env is production. That's good. Storing cache modules. Yeah, see that? I feel like there should be like a Webpacker execution running right in that Node.js step. All right, it is running rake assets precompile. Oh, I wonder if that's succeeding locally. We could try that out. Already up to date. What does that even mean? Rake Webpacker precompile, I think, is the other thing it's aliased to. Rake-t should show all of our rake tasks. Webpacker compile. Did not create any files, but it didn't blow up either. Let's verify the install. I wonder if I can do that on Heroku. All right, let's go run it again. Make sure that we're still seeing the same error. We are. Go over to the Heroku. Oh, it should have been the logs there. All right, clear that, refresh it. Right there, Webpacker compiling. So it's attempting to do the compilation. Compile to all packs at app public pack. App public pack. I guess that's where. Interesting. Okay, whatever. One CLI must be installed. Oh, error. Okay. Search for that. Heroku Right now I'm just kind of like furiously flying through these to see if anything looks familiar. We will use yarn to install the CLI via yarn add. Do you want to install? Yes. Internal server error fatal. Can't find, Webpacker can't find application in apps public packs manifest.json. I want to try to compile this locally. Yeah, if we can search file. Ah, here we go. I'm curious if I can run. Okay, let's try to run it as a production application locally. Yeah, why does it? What in the world? Running this command will add the dependency to the workspace root rather than the workspace itself, which may not be what you want. W. Ah. Pack CLI. Let's try this. Yarn add -d. And then we'll do dash. All right, I think I have a path here. We can get this thing running locally in production mode, then maybe this will work. So -w. All right, now we should be able to run bin/webpack here. Boom. Okay, good. It's blowing up. Cannot find module Rails Webpacker. Is that the same problem that he was having? Nope. All right, is Webpacker like disabled in the? No, there it is. And I'm sure it's what's running the compilation locally too. Let's start the local web server. Packages are out of date. Let me tail the dev server. Tail -f log/dev. All right, let's see. When I refresh this page, what do you see? Ooh. Wow. So compilation is breaking locally as well. Well, what have I changed? All right, let's go to, let's see if this is actually happening on master too. So this might be isolating what the problem is. Rails Webpacker in my package JSON. John says, let me go look at that real quick. Package JSON. Ah, interesting. This could be a relic of my upgrade process. Webpacker Make sure I get the syntax right there on how to add this to my package JSON. Oh, goodness. All right, let's see. And that is the actual Rails Webpacker thing. Interesting. So that might have been when I ran this Webpacker install. Maybe it didn't add it to my package JSON file. Okay, that's possible. And then when I just ran the Packer install a second ago, I actually told it not to overwrite that file. I don't know what this will do. Let's see. John, can you paste the whole contents of your package JSON in here? I want to make sure that I'm specifying it correctly in the package JSON. I know it's going to be something like this. Dependencies, Rails, Webpacker maybe? Yep. Okay, good. Thank you. And 4.0.2. Is there any magic about that @Rails thing? Let me see. Now I'll do a yarn install. Huh. It seems to resolve that @Rails thing. Okay. I guess that's the organization. I'm not that super familiar with package JSON files, not being a Node guy. Okay. Now, hopefully. All right. Now if we refresh our local host, hopefully this will... Webpacker can't find application in manifest JSON. Interesting. Webpacker YAML. Compile is set to true. That's interesting. Cache manifest false. I kind of want to just rerun Webpacker install and let it like clean things out. So let's see, I did Rails. I'm going to rerun this Webpacker install. And then it asks me to overwrite files. I'm just going to say yes this time. So yes, I want to overwrite Webpacker YAML. Babel config. I'm sure I have not messed with that. Yeah. Nope. I'm going to go ahead and have it overwrite. Interesting. It doesn't touch the Webpacker YAML. Oh, there it is. Oh, there. Okay, the Webpacker YAML is the important one. All right, let's restart the application. Where is it running? Here it is. Heroku local. Hopefully that starts successfully. All right, refresh. Wow. Can't find application in the manifest JSON. So it seems like the build is failing locally, or it's failing to actually do the... Oh, do I probably need to be running Webpack dev server now? I feel like locally I have not been using Webpacker. That's not what I'm going to run. I meant to run bin/webpack. No, I want to run rake. There we go, webpacker compile. Yeah, I'm trying to do the compilation again. Boom. Explode. Wow. Interesting. So I think I must have been running my assets locally using a different asset pipeline than Webpacker, because I don't think it has been running up until now. And this is just exposing, yep, different error now. Well, I also didn't run Rails. I didn't run it like this. Rails env. Entry module not found. Can't resolve Babel loader. I kind of wonder if my... Oh yeah, and I'm not doing any JavaScript on the pages. That's a good point. So it's not actually doing... It's not handling the compilation of my Sass. Oh my gosh. Rails still uses the old pipeline in... Man, I'm going to have to like go actually do some significant reading on the new asset pipeline, because clearly I don't get it. Yeah, I haven't done any JavaScript, I don't think, in this application yet. So that could definitely be why. Jetpack tag. JavaScript pack tag. There we go. Yeah, that was what was failing all along. So we could just go without JavaScript for now and get it working. Let me make sure. Let me see what changes I have right now. Git checkout, Babel, package, yarn, config, webpacker. All right, so we're back to that one change. Let's run it locally and see if everything's working locally. That should not have required me to restart the server, but just do it anyway for now. Whoa. Oh, right, yarn. Install. All right, now we're back to Heroku local. Yeah, Webpack wouldn't be working, but I don't need Webpack because I don't have JavaScript on this site, on this thing for now. Okay, so that's working locally. Let me see if there's any errors in the compilation. Nope, everything's fine here. Yeah, so I've dodged the issue, John. I'm just gonna get it working locally, and then we'll get it working on Heroku, and then later when I need actual JavaScripts, I will fight through this error, and we can at least get somewhere in our last 6 minutes of work here today. All right, so the last thing that we just did was change, at John's recommendation, we removed JavaScript with the knowledge that Webpacker is only using to package up all the JavaScript. So we don't need that right now. So we can go ahead and remove it. So let me go ahead and commit that change. Remove JavaScript for now. Git push. That gets it up to GitHub. Let's go over to Heroku and do a deploy. Move to .env, deploy that branch, and this should be fine because the JavaScript pack tag is gone, so that's never going to trigger Webpacker. So the fact that Webpacker doesn't work should not be an issue, and which means that the CSS and HTML is still getting served up. So John, thanks for that distinction. I had not caught at all that Webpacker was only being used for JavaScript. Now that you say it, it makes total sense. But for some reason, I thought maybe the Sass and the other things were running through Webpacker as well. But that doesn't make a lot of sense. The old asset pipeline would, especially since I'm using like ERB and stuff, the old asset pipeline should be, well, not should anything. The old asset pipeline is still in place for HTML and CSS. So, all right. Hopefully this is done. Done. Open Spotify new releases. And we can now connect. Let's see if this works. Invalid redirect URI. Oh, localhost. Magic strings in the redirect URI. Okay, cool. Things look like they're working. Let's see if we can get this working then. We are really, really close. There's looks like I had left some localhost in here. I'll search for it everywhere. See where else I'm. Oh man. Redirect URI here. Got to do better than that. Okay, so I should have seen this too while I was looking at it. Okay, so we're gonna make another. Where would I want to define the domain? Probably in production. Oh, it feels so good to be unblocked. Okay, let's see. In production.rb, isn't there usually a domain in here? URL. Totally blanking on where to define the URL. Let's see. Could do it in. Yeah, it should be in the production file. All right, we'll just make a new. Surprised there's not something already here, but we'll just make a new thing like this. Config dot domain equals, and it's this. For now, it's going to be this Spotify new releases. That. And now we can come over here and embed that in. So that'll be that. And I do want to strip the trailing slash off there. Rails dot configuration dot domain callback. All right, and then I think I'm gonna need to go configure my Spotify app as well. Pretty sure I know where to do that though. I've only got 1 minute left. Okay, what's my local host? Where else is this? Rails.configuration.domain. All right, get that in there. And we'll need to define that in development as well. Development.rb. Config.domain equals p localhost 5000. Now that we're using Heroku local, where else is this? Webpacker YAML, don't care about that. New releases and docs, I don't care. Spotify Ruby, Spotify service spec. Okay, cool, should be good. Let me restart the application, make sure it works locally. Extract out the domain to a config variable. All right, push, do a deploy. Oops. All right, good, it's done. Move to .env, deploy, 2 seconds left. The last thing I think we need to do, and this, I think this should be running. So I know we're over our Pomodoro, but I totally want to see if this works now. Spotify developer, developer Spotify, hit the dashboard. Open Spotify releases production. Edit settings. Yes. Okay, so we do need to insert a few things here. Let me go pull up the other one so I know what those settings are. And edit back to dashboard. Edit settings. Localhost 3000 / callback. So it's going to be this / callback add. Is that the only one? Yes, it is. I'll go ahead and add the website there. Save. Okay, so now if you run this, connect your Spotify account, click here. Illegal scope. Oh, I have to change the scopes. Let me see. Where are those specified? Oh, were those specified when I initially created it? Can't remember. Huh. Yeah, where are the scopes specified? This is weird. Android bundle IDs. I know I'm specifying them on this crazy string. So here's one place that that's happening. Spotify service. No, on the initial one, the one that's in the auth controller. Index, auth index, that I need to extract out this insane long line here. So yeah, these scopes are crazy long. Why is it telling me invalid scope? Or illegal scope? Alright, let me try this real quick. Get rid of that one. Birth date. Says that is... So yeah, this is actually pretty recent. I don't know why it would continue to be working. Oh! I know why. So this is making these scope requests for the first time from a new application. And if they change the scopes... So my localhost application has had these scopes requested for a long time, like 6 months. And so the change there, any change that they're making to what legal scopes are, I'm only going to see when authing a new account. So that's something we're going to need to take into consideration, maybe with some sort of automated testing to make sure that our scope request code doesn't break, because I'm not going to notice on my local account. Remove now illegal scope. And we should definitely push those, pull those scopes out of that string and into some sort of environment variable that we can then build that string bed in a cleaner way. So we'll do that soon too. In fact, I'm going to go open a pull request real quick because we're wrapping up here, even though we're a minute into our break. Spotify new releases, compare and pull request, deploy to production, set up production in Heroku. I'll add some more details here in a second, but grab our Trello card over here. I want to create a pull request because I want to go ahead and start commenting on some things. Okay, the deployment should be still working. All right. Files changed. Where's that change? This. Need to extract the scopes from this crazy long string and put in an environment variable. So close to done here. Add single comment. right. Okay, so back here, I wonder if there was any other illegal scopes that I'm requesting. Woohoo! Okay. I'm definitely, by the way, requesting far broader a set of scopes than I need to, so I need to pare that back. Reduce the set of the scopes I'm requesting via the Spotify API to a more reasonable set. This has got to be super scary for people who are using the application that they're giving me all the permission in the world. So yeah, we don't need to do all that. Let's go ahead and hit agree. No. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here. It's clearly not working right now, but I gotta stick to my time slot here. We can go figure out what's working later or what's failing later. Oh, it's so easy to fix. I haven't migrated the database. I am gonna go ahead and do that and make this work. Rails 6. Remind me what the guide is. Migrate. Yeah, that's what I want right there. Woot. Come on. Come on. So tempting to keep doing one more thing, but we're going to wrap up here in like 1 minute. All right, there's a successful migration. And now I need to go back over to our production application. I hope I haven't broken it for good. All right, so I go through and hit connect, view my releases. Oh, I think it's working now. Whoa, that was crazy fast. How is that possible? That was insanely fast. We are on... I'm a little confused right now why that loaded so quickly, but I am pleased to say Spotify new releases is working in production. Woo! It took a few more minutes longer than I'd like, and battling Webpacker sucks, but it was worth it. So yeah, it's up in production. I think I'll probably work over the next couple days and get an actual domain. But right now, you should be able to go to Spotify-newreleases-prod.herokuapp.com and actually see your new releases in production. So a couple things left to do to get this thing ready to actually push it out on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But man. Yeah, John says the server must be closer to the Spotify server or something. Yeah, that's crazy. I was getting 200 millisecond ping times from my box, but I guess things are faster wherever those things are happening. So, man, that is exciting. Okay, cool. This has been fun working on Spotify new releases with you. Thanks for tuning in to Coding with Jess. We will do this again very soon, probably 1 week from today, same time, same place. But there'll be, yeah. So excited you were here. Super fun. Thanks, John Fernandez, for hanging out and all the help battling through Webpacker. Couldn't have done it without you. It's nice. That's why it's always nice to have a pair when you're working on this stuff. So thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.